But anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll rock with it. We just had a trade go down. The Phoenix Suns are trading Yusuf Nurkic and a 2026 first-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for Cody Martin, Micic, and a 2026 second-round pick. We'll dive right into it. Honestly, this is a pretty good trade. The Hornets just got rid of Mark Williams. They send him to Lakers, which is a huge W. Huge W. There's a train that goes by my apartment, so you might hear that a little bit often. That's better as you were sideways. Yeah, when I put it the other way, I was sideways. But yeah, this trade for the Hornets is good for the right now. They get a center that they desperately needed because they got rid of Mark Williams. So they had no center to really play on the court. Also, Nurkic didn't want to be in Phoenix anymore. I remember back about a few weeks ago, they were talking about how him and Coach Bud have not talked in like a month. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but even the fact that that comes out, things aren't going great. So this is a mutually good deal for both sides. The Phoenix Suns get a little bit more depth with Cody Martin and Micic. Micic's been pretty good. That's better as you were sideways. Am I sideways right now? I don't think I'm sideways, right? I'm not sideways right now. I'm looking at my stream over here. Yeah, that's what I thought. 2026 second round pick. Yeah, I like this deal for both sides. And that one just came out a few minutes ago. What are you guys' thoughts on this trade here? Let's see. Let's see if anything new came out. And we have about 90 minutes left until the deadline. So things are starting to heat up a little bit with the final watches. What do I want to happen before this deadline? There's one trade I want to see. One trade. I want to see Nikola Vucevic out of Chicago. The Chicago Bulls get rid of Zach LaVine, right? That was the first move to push on the rebuild. I like that. The next thing that has to go down, I need to see Nikola Vucevic away from this team. And if you watch my video from this morning, I talked about how I really want to see the Golden State Warriors maximize this deadline. They get Jimmy Butler, which I think is a solid trade. We'll get there in a minute. I talked about it in my video this morning, but I'll go into some detail in the live as well. I want to see the Warriors maximize this deadline and get Vucevic. I want them to keep Kuminga. I think they can do that. If they kept Kuminga in the Jimmy Butler trade, they can absolutely keep Kuminga in a Vucevic trade. But they have Podziemski. They have Buddy Hield that is up. He makes around $9 million. They have, Guy Santos that can add to make some money work. They have some smaller contracts there that can equal about the $20 million that Vucevic is making. Let me pull up their cap because there's a few guys. Warriors salaries. And also, thank you for joining for future streams. I will make sure I get this a lot better. This is my first one since 2018, so I'm still trying to figure some things out. But they can throw, Gary Payton. And if they throw Gary Payton and Buddy Hield or Gary Payton and Kevon Looney, that can match roughly what Vucevic is making at around $20 million. You might have to throw Guy Santos in there. He makes around $2 million. They can make it work. I want to see the Golden State Warriors go out and get a center. Go out and get another star. If they really want to buy in to what they're doing, they got to get another center. And that starts with, in my opinion, Vucevic. But what I wanted to do for this live, I just kind of started it a little randomly because I wasn't expecting me to be straight up. I want it to be, the normal way of videos. We are going to just go through some of the moves so far this deadline. I've made separate videos on the big one with Luka. I actually want to make another video on the Luka one. I really want to dive another layer into that trade because it's just a head scratcher, I kind of want to do maybe like the Luka Doncic trade 1 week later where everyone has time to sit with it. I put a poll out for y'all talking about the Luka trade, and what was the response? I think it was like 75%. The Mavericks are stupid. Something funny like that. I put a bunch of different funny answers on there. But let's go back and talk about some of these trades. Let's go. I went all the way back to the summer. That's too far. All right, we don't need to talk about Thomas Bryant. We don't need to talk about the Dennis Schroeder one. We don't need to talk about that. Let's start off with let's start off here. We'll briefly talk about the Luka trade again. Again, I want to make a deeper dive video on it. I've already made another video, but let's just break this one down again. And as more news comes out, we'll dive into that. So as we all know, you look like Tyler V. I honestly don't know who that is, But hopefully that's cool. Hopefully Tyler V is a cool looking guy. I appreciate it though. Thanks for watching. Let's see. I want to keep Twitter up. He's a YouTuber. All right, let me look him up. Tyler V. I'll look that up later. I'll check him out later. Let's see. All right, I got Shams on my left, and I got the trades on my right. Let's go back to this Lakers trade, right? So on February 2nd, we all know what went down, right? The Dallas Mavericks had Anthony Davis, Max Christie, who made his debut a few days ago. Anthony Davis might make his debut tonight against the Boston Celtics. That should be a fun one to watch. The Lakers get Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge let them touch the trade a little bit. They get Jalen Hood-Schifino. Oh, man. The Dallas Mavericks are stupid. I mean, that's really all I can say. I can hear all the conversation about how, management, ownership, they didn't believe in Luka Doncic taking care of his body. They didn't believe in this, and the third. I don't care. You do not get rid of someone like Luka Doncic right now at 25 years old. You just don't do it. It makes zero sense. It's just not something you do. I do not care what the reasoning is. Do I agree? Luka Doncic is a fatty, a little bit. Sure, I can agree with that. He's a little bit overweight. But I don't care if Luka Doncic is 300 pounds, 400 pounds, 450 pounds. Maybe that's pushing it. But you know what I mean? Luka Doncic is a generational talent. You just do not get rid of someone like that. So when I saw that, I was sleeping in my bed. I just happened to wake up around like 12:30, 12:45. I checked my phone, and my friends' group chats are just blowing up. I'm like, what is going on? I see Luka gets traded. I'm like, this is something out of NBA 2K. At a very basic level, when this trade went down, the Dallas Mavericks did not win it. The Lakers won it. But when you look at this season, I gave the Dallas Mavericks an edge for this year. Because if you look at that starting five, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, you have PJ Washington, you have Klay Thompson, who's been iffy this year, but if he can become more of himself, that'd be good. And then you still have Gafford, Lively in that rotation. That's just awesome. And then if you look at the Lakers side, what's going on, man? I'll answer your question in 1 second about Colin Sexton. But if you look at that rotation on the Lakers side, before what they've done today, they've made a big move today that really squashes a lot of my issues with their rotation. But it just was not looking great. It was just Luka, LeBron, and you have Austin Reeves. They had no center. Their big man at the time was Jackson Hayes. He was going to be their starting center, possibly. That's disgusting. That was not an answer. But in this very moment, when this trade went down, the Dallas Mavericks roster looked better than where the Lakers were. But let me see this comment here. Do you think Colin Sexton gets traded? I never know with Danny Ainge, to be honest. I'm going to lean towards probably not. I haven't really been hearing, a lot of good rumors on that standpoint. But you don't know. I mean, the Utah Jazz did just bring in Jalen Hood-Schifino. Not like he's anything great, but he's another guard in that rotation. Isaiah Collier is there. I don't really know. I don't think there's a huge market for Colin Sexton right now. I don't think he does get moved. Any questions you guys have about the trade deadline stuff, feel free to throw it in here. We have about an hour and 20 minutes left before the deadline. Let's see if there's any new news. We got that Nurkic trade a few minutes ago. That's the newest thing we got going. Nurkic is going to the Charlotte Hornets, which is good. I mean, the Hornets got rid of Mark Williams, and then they immediately get back another center who can just fit this year. Obviously, he's not a long-term solution, does not fit the timeline at all for what the Hornets are trying to build. But for the right now, they needed a body down there. Nurkic definitely fits that hole. They give up Cody Martin, Micic. They're just going to Phoenix, which is just good depth for them. But then I guess Phoenix's center is Mason Plumlee, who's been outplaying Nurkic, so I can't even really be mad at that, honestly. But continuing here, I talked about the Zach LaVine trade already. I made a video on that. De'Aaron Fox, who had a great game last night. I was watching the highlights in class. Don't do that. Don't be me. Don't watch basketball highlights in class. Actually pay attention, which I mostly pay attention, but I was like, I need to see De'Aaron Fox's highlights because he played last night. I didn't have time to watch the game. I got to see it. So I was watching De'Aaron Fox's highlights in class, and I was like, this is just a beautiful fit. 20, what do you have? 26 points, 13 assists or something like that. Let me see. De'Aaron Fox stats. I'm not sideways. It's your phone, because I'm looking at my stream over here. I'm not sideways. I'm not. If you're moving your phone, you're gonna be. Yeah, it's you moving your phone, Pops. It's you moving your phone. I'm not changing. Let's see. But yeah, De'Aaron Fox last night, he had 24 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 50% from the field. Yeah, his three-point shot wasn't great, 2 for 7, but we know it's never great. That's De'Aaron Fox. He's a very streaky three-point shooter. But the fact that he just fit in right away and played his game, it's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, the Spurs are going to be good. This year, I don't really have high expectations for the rest of this season for the Spurs. I'm going to be honest. I think the Spurs they'll be over 500 at this point. They're a few games behind it. But we'll have to see how things play out. Absolute W for the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, duh. They also bring in J-Mac, which is pretty good. And then we go to the Sacramento Kings. And again, I've made a video on all this, so I sound like a broken record. I kind of want to more talk about some of these newer deals and then anything else that comes out in the next hour pretty much. But the Sacramento Kings get Zach LaVine, City Sissoko, which they just flipped off for Jonas Valanciunas, which was a big W. But they also get a few first-round picks. They get 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. The Kings are a joke. They got a Charlotte Hornets top 14 protected first-round pick for this year. That's a fake first-round pick. The Charlotte Hornets are bad. We know that. That is not going to be protected. It's not going to be, I mean, it is protected, but it's not going to be going to the Kings. We can scratch that one out. It's not going anywhere. The San Antonio Spurs won in 2027. The Spurs, they just made this deal in this same trade. They're going to be good in 2027. The Spurs are going to be good in 2027. That pick's going to mean absolutely nothing. It's probably going to be somewhere in the 20s. Unless a meteor hits the earth and it kills Victor Wembanyama, kills De'Aaron Fox, kills all the depth that the San Antonio Spurs have in 2027, which is only 2 years away. I know it feels like, 2027 is some far away year, but it's not. This isn't 2020 anymore. We're not in 2021 anymore. Crazy, I know. We're in the year 2025. It's 2025. That's only 2 years away, 2027. The Spurs are going to be good. They're going to be even better than where they are right now. That pick's also going to mean absolutely nothing. 2031 first-round pick the Sacramento Kings also get. That one might be from the Minnesota Timberwolves. That one might be the only somewhat interesting one. In 2031, is Anthony Edwards still in Minnesota? We'll see. I mean, the way the league's going right now, Anthony Edwards might be long gone from Minnesota. I doubt it. But Luka just got traded. I'm not putting anything past the association anymore. That pick could also mean absolutely nothing, but it's the only one where there's an unknown there because it's projecting so far. But the Sacramento Kings, for their franchise player, don't get enough. They don't get enough. I think I said it in my video. I said malpractice by management. It's malpractice. To only walk away, you walk away with 6 picks, and there's only one of them there that has maybe somewhat of value, that being that 2031 first-round pick from Minnesota. That's the only one that has a little bit of value, but even then, the Timberwolves could still be good then, and it may mean absolutely nothing. And then you go to the Chicago Bulls, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter. Cool. Doesn't mean anything. Overall, trade grades, I gave the San Antonio Spurs an A+. They don't have to give up much at all. You're telling me the Sacramento Kings didn't demand one of Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle, none of their young guys. They didn't demand one of them. And even if they did, they let back really quickly because they got nothing in return. You're telling me none of the young guys they got back in this deal. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Not one of them. Jeremy Sohan, no. Stephon Castle, no. Keldon Johnson, no. Nothing. They got nothing in return. To get rid of your franchise player, San Antonio Spurs get an A+ in this deal. The Sacramento Kings, they make a somewhat of a lateral move, minus a few notches. Zach LaVine is not De'Aaron Fox. I think Zach LaVine is having a really good year. It's not getting appreciated because he's in Chicago. No one really looks at him like that star anymore, but he's having a great season. Don't let that go by. He's having a great year. He's going to be a great fit with DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento. And I don't think they're going to take too much of a step backwards. But the fact that they just did not get any youth from San Antonio, it's like a B minus. It's a B minus. If they just got one piece of youth, I mean, even if it was just Jeremy Sohan, who's probably, or Stefan Castle, one of those two, I would have gave him like an A minus. I would have bumped it up a whole grade. But the fact they got no youth and they got a bunch of fake picks and maybe just one valuable one, it's a B minus. It's a B minus. Chicago Bulls, I don't really care. They were just, trying to dump off Zach LaVine. But what I will say about the Bulls, they just waited to the last minute to make this deal. They could have got rid of Zach LaVine 2 years ago. That's what I want. They should have got rid of Zach LaVine 2 years ago, last offseason, last trade deadline. That's what they should have done, and his value would have been a lot higher. But they waited to the last possible second. He still has obviously like 3-4 years on his contract, so I don't mean contract-wise. But they waited till his value was at its absolute lowest because it was finally the time where the Bulls were like, we're going to trade him. And since the league knew they wanted to trade Zach LaVine, his value was just the bare minimum to the point where they get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter and a first-round pick. That's all they get back. And it's San Antonio's first-round pick for this year, which could be, depending on where they go, I think they're going to obviously be pretty good. It's going to be like the late teens, early 20s. At the very, very best, it's the last pick in the lottery, but I don't see that happening at all. But that's like the best case scenario. It's most likely going to be a late teens, early 20s first-round pick. That's cool. But actually, I got that wrong. It's their first-round pick. Oh, it's their own first-round pick. That's right. I knew that. They get their own first-round pick back. So take back the last 30 seconds that I was saying I was just capping. I knew that, though. We got a lot of trades to talk about, so I forgot about that. They get their own first-round pick back. That's from that DeMar DeRozan trade. That's good. That's probably the best thing going in that deal. We'll move on, though. I spent a lot of time on that. I also made a whole video on that trade. Let's see some of these other deals. Let's see if there's any new deals that have happened. Trade deadline is in about an hour and 10 minutes. Oh, we just got a trade. We got a Shams bomb. Holy crap, this is bad for the Boston Celtics. This is really bad for the Boston Celtics. The Atlanta Hawks are trading forward DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Caris LeVert, Gorgeous Niang, and 3 second-round picks. Yeah, things just got real, ladies and gentlemen. This live stream just got real. Wow. DeAndre Hunter's in the running for 6th man of the year. He's averaging around like 20 points per game off the bench in Atlanta. Why would the Atlanta Hawks get rid of DeAndre Hunter? Things started to heat up in the last 24 hours about DeAndre Hunter. Wow, man. Good for the Cavs. As a Celtics fan, that scares me. The Cavaliers are a great squad, but they finally got that next piece that, in my opinion, they're matching with any team in the league right now. They already were the best team in the league, one of the best teams in the league, but wow. So if you're just joining us, the Atlanta Hawks are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Caris LeVert, Gorgeous Niang, and 3 second-round picks. Why would the Hawks do that? I know the Hawks, they're just really trying to sell. That's what they're doing. Jalen Johnson goes out for the rest of the year. They're like, screw it. De'Aaron Fox trade wild. That trade is wild, but the Spurs get an A+ on that. What do you think about this trade that just went down? I have a train that goes by my apartment, so you're about to hear it. You're going to hear me say that 5 more times probably. But the Atlanta Hawks are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's crazy. NBA standings. Let's see where... That's crazy. The Hawks are 23-28 right now. They're the 9 seed. The thing is, they don't even own their pick this year. I want to say the San Antonio Spurs own the Atlanta Hawks pick this year. So them tanking isn't doing them any favors. And DeAndre Hunter's been like their second best player this year. Very surprising move by the Atlanta Hawks to really just give up DeAndre Hunter like that. I know there were some rumors on it, but I don't get it. This move here really competes them with the Boston Celtics. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm a Celtics fan, as you can see. This move here, getting DeAndre Hunter, is really puts them right there with the Celtics. Like, it's honestly, it might make them better. I'm just reading some subtweets here. Excellent deal for the Cavs. Add more size, length, versatility in Hunter. LeVert has been great, but doesn't really create the same shot. Worthwhile haul for the Hawks to pick up all three pieces too. I mean, I guess it equals out the value. I don't know. The Cavs are loaded. Yeah, the Cavs are loaded. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Hunter, Mobley, and Allen. And then someone said Celtics in 6. That's right. That's right. Future live streams, I am going to figure out a way to have my computer screen with me on the live. This one is my first one since 2018. I'd say I'm still a beginner at it because I haven't done a live stream in a very long time. Wow. That's why I wanted to go live, to react to stuff like this. I wanted to go live to react to, I can't say Woj bombs and Shams bombs. I can't say that either. Shams news like this. DeAndre Hunter going to the Cavaliers. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, good for the Cavs. NBA standings again. 41-10 the Cavs are. Celtics are 5 games behind them right now. I mean, if you just look at those rotations, the Celtics have been very inconsistent in their last, I want to say, like 25 games. They're 7-3 in their last 10, but some of these have been cakewalks. They did just beat the Cavaliers. Just DeAndre Hunter brings so much to that team. That's crazy. Let's see where DeAndre Hunter is. Last time I checked, he was averaging around, I want to say, like 19 points per game. Yeah, 19 points per game, 4 rebounds. He's shooting almost 40% from 3 and 46% from the field. DeAndre Hunter's having a career year. And the fact that the Cavaliers just swooped in and snagged him, and they're the best team in, I would say the Thunder are a little better, but one of the best teams in the league, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Going back to deals that have already happened, because I'm a Celtics fan, I'm going to briefly talk about it. Jaden Springer sent to Houston for a 2031 second rounder, top 55 protected, means absolutely nothing, but that's just the Celtics with the new CBA, the second tax apron, shaving off some money. Jaden Springer is supposed to make $4 million this year. If they kept him on the roster all season, they get $15 million in tax penalties. They don't want that. That's why they get rid of Jaden Springer. So I just saw 2 people leave the live stream because I'm talking about Jaden Springer. Makes sense. I don't blame you. Next up, the Oklahoma City Thunder get Daniel Tice for just cash considerations. I mean, the Pelicans were already out of the playoff race, but then you're just going to be like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just dump off these guys. OKC gets a good big man there. Kind of helps Jalen Williams, not the good Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, not have to be so dominant in that rotation. I think Daniel Tice is a good rotational piece. If you're just joining, DeAndre Hunter trade to the Cavaliers. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. DeAndre Hunter trade to the Cavaliers for Caris LeVert, Georges Niang, and 3 second-round picks and 2 swaps. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. In my opinion, this puts the Cavs at the ultimate number 1 team in the league. Celtics have that playoff experience. They have that championship experience. Thunder, they're also just extremely talented. They have the MVP, in my opinion. But the Cavaliers right now have just become my favorites to win the finals. Do I think it's going to happen? I think the Celtics are the team to beat. But on paper, I mean, they're the best team in the league. They just made a best team in the league type of move. Next up, this one I do want to talk about because it's just interesting. So originally, Sidney Sissoko got traded to the Sacramento Kings in that Zach LaVine, De'Aaron Fox deal. He was on the Spurs, so yeah, he got sent to Sacramento. They flipped that with 2 second-round picks. They flipped that for Jonas Valanciunas. Awesome move by the Sacramento Kings. They needed a big. They get that deal done. They bring in Jonas Valanciunas. That's big for them. Obviously, Valanciunas is whatever, but he shouldn't have been stuck on the Wizards in the first place. As of right now, the Sacramento Kings are currently 25-25, a 500 team. Bringing in Valanciunas absolutely helps their rotation a bit. You could run him and Sabonis. The defense there is god-awful, but I like that move. The Sacramento Kings desperately needed another big man on that team. Valanciunas is a body. I don't mind that. Just the defense on that team, it's pretty nasty, pretty gross. Next up, let's talk about this Kyle Kuzma and Khris Middleton trade. This is a trade I did not make a video on. I really should have made a video on it, and maybe I will, but it's one of those deals that are like, you know, it happened yesterday. Is it really worth making a video on anymore? Probably not. So we're going to talk about it right now, and again, maybe I might make a video on it. We'll see. But the Milwaukee Bucks go out and trade Khris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and a 2028 first-round pick swap for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin, who just got flipped in another deal, and Jericho Sims. And then the New York Knicks get DeLon Wright. Most importantly, why did the Milwaukee Bucks trade Khris Middleton? I'll answer that for you. It's all about that second tax apron. We're in a new NBA, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a completely new NBA. And 90% of the deals we're seeing in the past 24, 48 hours, or in the last few minutes, these are deals that are happening because of this tax apron. That's the sole reason. Teams do not want to pay penalties unless you're the Boston Celtics. They even made a little bit of a deal to save some money. But most of these teams, they don't want to touch that second tax apron. They don't want to touch it. They're scared of it. They don't want to pay the taxes. They don't want to pay the penalties. And we're seeing the repercussions of it in this trade deadline. We're seeing it. It's not the main reason Luka Doncic got traded, but the Mavericks did not want to pay Luka Doncic long term. I think that's obviously completely stupid. They're buying into AD, buying into Kai, and the rest of that roster, but they didn't want to pay Luka, which ultimately would have put him into that second tax apron, paying him all that money. They didn't want to deal with it. Again, I think it's stupid. That's what happened here with Khris Middleton. Not only did they not want to go into the second tax apron with Khris Middleton, they're now out of it. They also just don't believe in him anymore, which I don't blame. Khris Middleton for the past, 2 or 3 years has been injured on and off. I mean, I do not blame the Milwaukee Bucks at all for getting rid of Khris Middleton. But when you look at Kyle Kuzma, does he really fix any issues at all in Milwaukee? Not really. His shooting this year has been terrible. His overall play this year has not been Kyle Kuzma-esque, and I don't say that to say like he's a star, but I say that to say he has not been as good as he has been in prior years. Is that because he's playing in Washington and they're just terrible and he's just kind of dogging it this year? Maybe. Definitely a possibility. But Kyle Kuzma is a bit younger. He's 29. I want to say Khris Middleton's like 33, 34, injury prone. It definitely fits the younger timeline, but does this piss off Giannis? Does this piss him off? There's a chance. Every single move the Milwaukee Bucks make directly has possible repercussions to the future of Giannis in Milwaukee. Khris Middleton has been everything to the Milwaukee Bucks for about 10 years now. But in the past 2 or 3 years, he's taken a decline. He's gotten hurt. He's been injured on and off. Can't stay on the court. Same thing's happening this year, having a really bad year. They move him. They don't want to pay him. They don't want to be in that second tax apron with Khris Middleton. I get it. I don't blame him at all. But is Kyle Kuzma really who you want in return? I don't know. Maybe he can, now that he's on a good team, maybe he turns up, he locks back into defense, he can actually start shooting. A buddy of mine in a class this morning, he was showing me a highlight tape of all of Kyle Kuzma's air balls this year. Kyle Kuzma is not spacing the floor at all good this year. He's shooting the ball terribly. The Milwaukee Bucks need spacing extremely bad. When you have Giannis, you need floor spacing. Of course, Dame spaces the floor, but they need other guys on that team. That's what Khris Middleton was there for. Again, wasn't really doing it that well this year, but they're buying into Kyle Kuzma. He's also really cheap. Like, Kyle Kuzma is on an extremely cheap deal. It's interesting. It's interesting. What do you guys think about some of these trades going on? Let me know down in the chat. For the Washington Wizards, though, I mean, Khris Middleton is either just going to be a veteran presence there for a little bit, or they're going to trade him as soon as they can. I don't see word on if this trade has finalized, because there were some other moves with Jericho Sims. I mean, he just came to Milwaukee today. That wasn't in the original trade yesterday. So I think they're still working out the final pieces of this trade. So in the next 59 minutes, unless I see something that's finalized, Chris Middleton could be on the move somewhere else. Some team could swoop in and snag Chris Middleton, which wouldn't be shocked about. Why would Chris Middleton be in Washington? He shouldn't be there unless they really just want that veteran presence. But an aspect of this trade for Washington that I do like is A.J. Johnson. Extremely raw talent, extremely, needs a lot of work done on his game, but he brings a lot of athleticism. We saw that all year with Milwaukee this year. Last year, he brings a lot of athleticism and explosiveness and just kind of that spark that a team might need, and especially a young team like Washington. There's no reason why they don't buy into someone like A.J. Johnson, give him a run, see what he can do. The Washington Wizards need all the talent possible. They need all the assets possible. That's what they're going to use with Chris Middleton. He's going to be an asset. He's going to be an asset in a trade. Same thing with A.J. Johnson, but he's going to be an asset for the team. Like, they're going to buy into him, see what he can be long-term on that team. Next trade I want to talk about, another one that falls into the, do I make a separate video on it? We'll see. I don't know. That is the Brandon Ingram trade that happened. Was it early this morning? Like, did it happen like at midnight? Might have been late last night. I go to sleep kind of early. Anyways, it happened within the last, 15 hours. Brandon Ingram traded to the Toronto Raptors. This one is a real head scratcher because Brandon Ingram is on an expiring contract. Is Brandon Ingram going to have any interest in re-signing with the Toronto Raptors? Most likely not. I don't know. I mean, the return that the New Orleans Pelicans get, it's better than nothing. They get Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a 25 second-round pick, and then a 2026 first-round pick, no protections, via the Indiana Pacers. I'm assuming that was in the sign and trade with Bruce Brown if it's coming from Indiana. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But on paper, if Brandon Ingram re-signs with the Toronto Raptors, what would that be? Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett. That's a good core four of young guys. I would say Brandon Ingram or Scotty Barnes. I give the edge to Brandon Ingram. He's a proven star more than Scotty Barnes has been so far in his career, but that's not a bad core four of guys. Like, it's not bad at all. They're just really missing a good center. I just don't see any reason why Brandon Ingram stays on this team. He has an expiring contract, and I think you're seeing the value that Brandon Ingram was at. It wasn't very high. They get back Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk. That's just like Tankathon, right? They get a second-round pick and one first-round pick. A lot like the Zach LaVine trade. The Bulls waited too long to trade Zach LaVine. At least he still had years left on his contract. This one's even worse. Brandon Ingram has no years left on his contract, and it's an expiring deal, and you're seeing where his value was at. Next to nothing. Literally nothing. But the Pelicans shouldn't have kept him, because then what? You're just going to let him walk and you're going to get literally nothing? At the end of the day, they get one first-round pick, Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, who they might be able to flip for something else. I don't know. The Raptors are just taking a flyer that Brandon Ingram somehow, some way, falls in love with Canada, and we the North, the 6, Toronto. That's what they're preying on. If I had to put money on it, Brandon Ingram is not in a Toronto Raptors jersey, unless there's information that he signs an extension. My money is he is not in a Toronto Raptors jersey next year. I don't know why he'd do that. Unless he's given the keys to the castle and him and Scotty Barnes can build something special. I'm going to say he's not a Raptor next year. The Pelicans just wanted some value back. That's what they get. Next trade. I need a sip of water first. Let's see if there's anything new. Before I talk about this Lakers trade, let's see if there's anything new going on. No. Last thing was 24 minutes ago with DeAndre Hunter going to the Cavs. That's one move the Cavaliers have made, but it puts them this is a video I'm going to make, winners and losers of the NBA trade deadline. That's a video I'm going to make. And as of right now, Cavaliers are a winner. And this team right here, the Los Angeles Lakers, are an absolute winner. I talked about it in my Luka video. I talked about it earlier in the live. Yes, Luka Doncic is utterly insane to go to the Lakers. Obviously, like no brainer, we know that. But you look at the roster of the Lakers, it was and it still is a little bit, but very incomplete in that starting five. You get rid of your only defender that really meant anything in Anthony Davis, and then your only big men after that are even serviceable to play on an NBA court are Jackson Hayes, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood at times, and that's really it. The rest of the big men on that roster should not be on an NBA court for more than, I don't know, 10, maybe 11 minutes a night. That might even just be me being too nice. But really, Jackson Hayes shouldn't even be getting a ton of minutes. Christian Wood shouldn't be getting a ton of minutes. Remember the days Christian Wood was almost an all-star? You remember that? And then we have Jared Vanderbilt, who's only there for his defense. That's all he provides. His offense has never showed up. They just get Mark Williams. The Los Angeles Lakers get Mark Williams for Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, he keeps getting tossed around, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap. Let's break this one down. I have not talked about this one at all on any platform. I want to dive into this one a little bit because that's a really good trade for both sides. The Lakers side, they get their center. And also, he fits the Luka timeline. He fits it. That's awesome. He's only what? He got to be like what, 22. Mark Williams, he's 23. Okay, close enough. He fits the Luka timeline perfectly. That's your center for the future. Mark Williams has a ton of untapped potential. We wanted to see it in Charlotte. We've seen it at times this year, but the Hornets are just so bad that there's just a lack of energy there at times, a lack of a good vibe for him to perform. He's now playing with Luka Doncic and LeBron James. Luka Doncic gets that center he had, like he had with Lively and Gafford, just a big body to throw lobs to, a big body to work with in the pick and roll. He has that again in Mark Williams. That was a concern. Yes, Jackson Hayes is probably the more athletic one if you're going to do something like him and Lively, but Mark Williams is a body down there. They needed a center. They needed one. They go out and get Mark Williams. The Lakers are the biggest winner of the trade deadline. They bring in Luka Doncic, and they also bring in a center they desperately needed. That's huge. They get an A+. Like, Mark Williams himself is just an A+ deal. They just needed a body. On the Charlotte Hornets side of things, yeah, you're probably scratching your head. Why would you get rid of, like, your young center? I think they're just going to go out and they're going to be bad. They're not that they're going to be bad. They are bad, right? They're going to have a good pick. Depending on where they fall, maybe they luck out and get Cooper Flagg, but I think they'll be more around that maybe 4 to 5 pick. Maybe I haven't done any scouting on the draft, so bear with me. But maybe there's a center that's going to be high up. When it comes to college basketball, all I know is about my Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, and then, of course, the top guys. But other than that, I'm not really. It's too early. When March Madness comes around, that's when I'll start scouting some guys for the drafts. But it's not. We're deep into the NBA season right now. But Dalton Knecht, that's awesome. I mean, he's already proven that he's a off-the-rip NBA player. Been a streaky shooter, except at the beginning of the year, but he's a rookie. Cam Reddish, I'm still holding my hope from when he was at Duke, or even in high school, and we all thought he was going to be the next Kevin Durant. I'm still holding a little bit of hope. Will that happen? Absolutely not. But he's just a fun guy to be on any team. But right now, the Hornets rotation could be like LaMelo Ball, Dalton Knecht, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and then they just brought in Yusuf Nurkic. We talked about that earlier. I do not know why the Charlotte Hornets are so bad. I don't get it. I predicted the Charlotte Hornets to be a play-in team this year. They're not even going to touch the 12 seed, luckily the 13 seed. They're just a really disappointing bunch. But this trade here just adds to their future. It adds to people that can be on this roster long-term, that can build with LaMelo, build with my guy Brandon Miller, Roll Tide. They can build together. Dalton Knecht is awesome. And then they're also going to have a really good first-round pick this year. Again, I don't know where it's going to fall. Let's see where Tankathon has them right now. Tankathon, again, if you're just joining the live, thank you very much for joining in. I haven't done a live since 2018, so my next one, because I enjoy being on live and just chatting, but my next one, I'll make sure we're this way and not vertical. And also, I'll make sure I can get my laptop screen on the live stream. It'll be a lot better to show you what I'm looking at. But right now, the Charlotte Hornets are projected the 4th overall pick. But again, the lottery can be whatever. The Charlotte Hornets are 12-36. The Cavs, I think, have a good starting 5. Yes, absolutely. I was talking about that DeAndre Hunter trade earlier. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. I think the Cavaliers have I don't know, when the OKC Thunder are healthy, Chet Holmgren, I just saw, got taken off the injury report. How do you feel about the Cavs trade? Yeah, my boy Jake, I was just talking about that earlier. That is huge. The Cavaliers they probably have the best team in the league right now. But I still think the Celtics are the team to beat, and I still put the Thunder a little bit above them because I think SGA just outweighs Donovan Mitchell. But if you're just going on paper, Cavaliers, best team in the league. But as we all know, on paper only takes you so far. But DeAndre Hunter is an absolute steal. C's still on top. Pablo, you're my guy. My buddy Pablo. But come on, let's not be biased Celtics fans here. I can't say it. DeAndre Hunter is better than every single bench player on the Boston Celtics. He's better than everyone on the bench on the Boston Celtics. And he's also better than him and Drew Holiday are pretty equal, I'll say. I think we can beat the Thunder. We handled them well earlier. We just need to take them down. Yeah, but you can't handle the C's. That's the thing. You cannot handle the C's. Pops in the chat asking about the Super Bowl. He's going to start, though. No, he is going to start. But still, he's been coming off the bench. And maybe he does. Maybe he still comes off the bench. I don't know. I doubt it. But that means, hey, Pablo, that means he's going to be out of eligibility for 6th Man of the Year. So you know who's getting 6th Man of the Year? That means Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard's going to be 6th Man of the Year. Let's see. But yeah, Cavaliers, we'll go back to that one for a second. That's huge. That's huge. They match up with the Celtics too well, guys. They match up with them too well. Sorry, Pablo. Celtics are still a team to beat. They're still the better team. Like, when it comes to finals and just, understanding the pressure of the game. But on paper, it's the Cavs. But then you look at the depth, though. The Cavaliers have better. I don't know. I disagree. Obviously, he's not better than Jaylen Brown, but let me pull it up. Cavaliers. And also, too, they've just been performing better all year. Again, Celtics are still a team to beat. I still would put my money on the Celtics in a 7-game series versus the Cavaliers. But if there's a team to beat us, it's the Cavs. The thing we just can't match up with, we cannot match up with Allen, and we cannot match up with Evan Mobley. When those two guys are on, there's not many teams, if any team in the league, that's stopping that. And then they still have Max Strus. They have Garland. They have, Donovan Mitchell, of course. Isaac Okoro, great guy off the bench. Dean Wade has been very snubbed this year. He's pretty good. Sam Merrill, good sniper off the bench. Mobley is a beast. Yeah, they do lose a little bit of depth getting rid of both Niang and LeVert. But Porzingis can't stop both of them, and don't give me the Al Horford. He's not stopping that. He's too old. Not that he's too old. He just does not stop athletic bigs like that. That's just not his game. Now, if you're putting Al Horford on more of a forward type of big, then sure, I would consider that conversation. But Horford's not stopping Mobley or Allen. Mobley is locking up Porzingis. I don't know about all that, Jake, but let's see if there's any new trades. No new trades. We're about 45 minutes left until the deadline. 45 minutes left. The final trade I want to see, I started off the live stream with this. The final trade I want to see, Nikola Vucevic getting traded to the Golden State Warriors. That's all I want to see. If that happens, I'll be a happy camper. Let's do it this way. if the Golden State Warriors really want to buy into this Jimmy Butler stuff with Stephen Curry, they need to go out and get one more guy. And that starts, or that continues with Nikola Vucevic. Porzingis went 7 for 20 with Mobley 2 nights ago. That's awesome, but who won? Us. And Mobley also had 7 points himself. Who stopped that? Porzingis. Let's continue talking about some of these. I talked about the Jimmy Butler trade this morning. I don't want to talk about this trade again, but I'll give a little brief opinion on this Jimmy Butler trade. If you look at it just based off stats alone, and if you've never watched either of them play, you're probably like, this trade is useless. They're pretty even, that being Jimmy Butler and Andrew Wiggins. But since you're watching my live, I'm going to assume you have a good knowledge base of the NBA and you understand that Andrew Wiggins is having a good year, but Jimmy Butler's peak is a lot better than what Andrew Wiggins can provide. I think Jimmy Butler has been dogging it. I said it in my video this morning. Jimmy Butler has been dogging it all year. He has been making the Miami Heat organization a living hell for Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, everyone but the players. He likes the players. But for management and coaching, he has been doing everything in his powers to get out of town. And he did it. He got to Golden State. But originally, he was like, I want to go to any other team. 24 hours later, he's like, no, I only want to go to Phoenix. It's been Phoenix for the past, month now? Phoenix wasn't getting the deal done. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. That wasn't going anywhere. And they weren't going to trade Kevin Durant. Golden State Warriors come back in the picture. They offer him the contract extension. That's why he's in Golden State. That's the only reason why Jimmy Butler is in Golden State right now. It's because they gave him the contract extension. I believe if Golden State did not come out and give Jimmy Butler the contract extension, they would still be working on a trade. Or Pat Riley would have sent them to a more undesirable destination. I think either way, Jimmy Butler was out of town. I don't think there's a way you bring him back after 3 different suspensions and just all the turmoil going on. But the only reason why Jimmy Butler agreed to go to Golden State is because they gave him the 2-year contract extension. And that's really it. If it was up to Pat Riley, he would have sent Jimmy Butler to Siberia. Like, honestly, he would have sent him out of the country. He has been causing a lot of chaos in that organization. But the one thing I give Jimmy Butler like a little bit of a leeway for that wasn't his fault is the fact that Pat Riley, I wish I said this in my video this morning. Damn it, I didn't say this, but I've said it in prior videos when we were talking about Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler never got his side of the bargain, or Pat Riley's side of the bargain followed through with. Ever since Jimmy Butler went to Miami, Pat Riley knew Jimmy Butler wanted a secondary star alongside him. Tyler Herro's not that. He's an all-star now. He's becoming that, but at the time he wasn't that. Bam Adebayo, all-star, but that's not what he wanted. Jimmy Butler wanted Damian Lillard. They struck out on that. Jimmy Butler wanted Kevin Durant. They struck out on that. Jimmy Butler wanted Bradley Beal. Thank God they didn't do that, but they struck out on that. Hold on a second. My throat is about to give out. Jimmy Butler wanted Drew Holiday. Lost out on that. Of course, the Celtics swoop in and snag Drew Holiday. Jimmy Butler wanted all of these stars that ended up on the trade market. Pat Riley never followed through with any of them. And the 2 ones that really pissed me off if I was a Miami Heat fan, it's Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard. 2 guys, without a doubt, we saw all the reports. 2 guys that wanted to end up in Miami. There was no questions. If it was up to Damian Lillard, he had free will over the situation, he'd be in Miami right now. And Jimmy Butler would still be there. If it was up to Bradley Beal, he would be in Miami right now. Maybe Jimmy Butler wouldn't still want to be there if that happened because Bradley Beal's just not that good anymore. But that's all Jimmy Butler wanted. That's all he wanted. And it never happened. Got to the point where he was like, screw this. Pat Riley wasn't going to pay him. We are where we are. Now, getting back into this trade. After everything Jimmy Butler has done, kicking and screaming, and you still bring back a return of Andrew Wiggins, of course, there's some other things there, but really just Andrew Wiggins, That's what we call a W. That's a W. The Miami Heat brought back someone who brings the same offensive production. Jimmy Butler, I still think, can get to that playoff Jimmy level, which was where I was getting to a few minutes ago about the Jimmy Butler thing. Jimmy Butler, in my opinion, can still get to that playoff Jimmy level. He's just been really dogging it this year, not trying because he didn't want to be in Miami. But now that he's on a team that gave him what he wanted, he just wanted the money. That's all he wanted. If Miami gave him the money, you would have seen a good Jimmy Butler, but they didn't want to pay him. But now that he's on a team that has invested into him, you're going to see the real Jimmy Butler. We're going to see what Jimmy Butler is really made of at 36 years old. We're going to see what he's all about. Now, Miami Heat, they made out in this deal. Both teams win. The Golden State Warriors get a star to pair up with Stephen Curry and someone who can tap into his Jimmy Butler-esque game. Hopefully, he still has that in the bag. I'm banking on that he does. And then the Miami Heat get someone in Andrew Wiggins that can fit into this rotation right away, fits alongside Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, and it's someone who's going to give production that wasn't there because Jimmy Butler's been off the court with suspensions, this, that, and the third. They also get Kyle Anderson and a protected first-round pick from the Warriors. They got PJ Tucker, but they just flipped him. He was in some deal that just happened in the last few hours. I forget. There's a lot going on. But they just got rid of PJ Tucker. He did not. Well, another deal. We'll talk about that in 1 second. PJ Tucker did not last long in Miami. A new deal came in 2 minutes ago. Man, I'm glad I filled up this water bottle. I've been talking for 52 minutes straight, guys. A new deal came in. Y'all ready? It's an earth-shattering, league-shaking one. But it shows the Hawks are selling, which I don't know why. But the Clippers are trading Terrence Mann and Bones Hyland to the Atlanta Hawks for Bogdan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks. The Hawks don't own their first-round pick this year. The San Antonio Spurs own their pick. So unless I see a massive, it would have to be a massive trade for the Atlanta Hawks to agree to this. So or the Spurs to agree to this. Unless I see the Atlanta Hawks make a big trade with the Spurs where they would get their pick back for this year, why are the Hawks trying to suck? Can someone answer that in the chat, please? Why are the Hawks just outright selling if they're not getting their own pick back? I guess that I don't know. I got to read this trade again. So the Clippers are getting Terrence Mann, Bones Hyland. They're going to Atlanta. The Clippers are getting 3 second-round picks in Bogdan Bogdanovic. Hold on. Hawks, any opinions on this trade? Type them in the chat. Hawks contracts. I know Bogdan's money isn't crazy. Yeah, he's got $17 million this year, $16 million next year, and then a $16 million team option in 26-27. That's not earth-shattering money. Am I missing something? This one just confuses me. Like, why are the Hawks selling off pieces? I know Jalen Johnson went out for the year. That sucks. That was the beginning of the end. They just traded DeAndre Hunter for Caris LeVert and Gorgeous Niang and some picks there. But now they're giving up Bogdanovic and willingly giving up 3 second-round picks for Terrence Mann and Bones Hyland. I don't get it. I don't get it. For the Clippers, I get it. The Clippers have been surprisingly good this year. They're what? Last time I checked, they're the 6th seed. Yeah, they're the 6th seed. They're 28-22. Kawhi's back. James Harden has been playing super inefficient all year, but at least he shows up and plays good basketball. He just chucks up shots for a living. Zubac is awesome. Norman Powell, if he could be an injury replacement for All-Stars, that'd be funny. They're playing good ball. So getting Bogdanovic is a W. A bona fide just bucket. Let's see how much he's averaging this year. Let's see. Yeah, he's giving you 10 points per game, a few assists, a few rebounds. Obviously, he hasn't been as big of a piece this year, but I don't get it. Let me see. We'll not play Wednesday. Yeah, I mean, I know he's been hurt. This one's weird. He's been hurt on and off this year, but yeah, I don't know. For the Clippers, W, they get someone who's a bucket. He can fit in right away. Let's see what these subtweets are. I always like to look at the opinions of these other people. Who won this trade? Yeah, Clippers, duh. Wow, they don't like Clippers fans. Don't like Clippers. I'm just reading through this. Clippers fans do not like Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann off my team. I could cry. Thought they considered Mann to be a franchise cornerstone. Why would they trade Bogdan? He's having a bad shooting year. I mean, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. Why are the Hawks blowing it up? Thank you. Someone said they want the Spurs to get Cooper Flag. I mean, literally, the Atlanta Hawks, they are trading away everyone on their team that, besides Trae Young, and of course Shai. They're trading everyone on their team that provides them, the few wins they have left this year. And now they're just freely giving the Spurs a top 5 pick. Yeah, why would they want this? This is exactly my thoughts. Why would they want the Spurs to get their pick? Why would they want the Spurs to get the number 1 overall? This is so stupid. No wonder people think the NBA is rigged. Cooper Flag's about to be a San Antonio Spur. It's ridiculous. Why have I been stuck on a meaningless trade, really, for so long? I know, I've been stuck on this one for a while. But it's just weird to me. Like, why are the Atlanta Hawks just outright just trying to throw it away when they don't even have their own pick? That was the whole reason why the Hawks came into this year firing away. The whole reason is because, and that's why they started off the year pretty good, is because they don't own their pick this year. They have nothing to tank for. They have everything to play for, so the Spurs don't get a good pick. But now Jalen Johnson goes out. Obviously, that was the first domino to fall, to be like, ugh, this sucks. But now they're trading DeAndre Hunter, 6th man of the year, averages around 20 points per game. They're trading Bogdan, who obviously has not been great this year, hasn't been shooting the ball great, has missed a lot of time this year. But they're just back-to-back trades. They're just selling off pieces. Weird to me. I want to make sure I touch on all these big trades that have happened. I believe I've touched on them all. I've talked about, let me go through this. Let's see. I've talked about the Middleton Kuzma one. I've talked about that. Luka, that one. Made a video on that. I talked about that. Fox, I talked about that. Mark Williams, we talked about that. That's a good one. Jimmy Butler, we talked about that. Just made a video on that this morning. Another trade. I saw this one when I was in English class. Whew. English class is a tough one to get through, guys. Especially today with the trade deadline. But Reggie Jackson gets traded to the Washington Wizards. It was just really like a random dump off. The Philadelphia 76ers get Jared Butler and a bunch of second-round picks. Just kind of swap. And then the Washington Wizards get a first-round pick. Less favorable, this, that, and the third. Random stuff there. This one for the Heat was kind of interesting. They bring in Davion Mitchell, and that's where PJ Tucker gets flipped again. He's going to Toronto. Davion Mitchell should be a cool piece for the Miami Heat. He brings defense. Obviously, his offensive game has always been underwhelming. It's never been there at all. But Davion Mitchell should be a cool little piece. And I mean literally too. He's a small guy. He's 6 feet tall, but for the NBA, he cannot be 6 feet tall. That is cap. He's listed as 6 feet tall on ESPN. No way he's more than 5'10". But this year he's averaging 6 points per game, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. As of late, he's been balling in Toronto. I mean, for what he is, 10 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, 9 points, 2 assists, 10 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 7 points, 4 assists, 8 points, 4 assists, 10 points, 3. He's just a good overall grit and grind type of guy. Fits Heat culture. That's cool. 30 more minutes of this deadline. Let's see if anything new pops in. There was some. That's not new. Why am I getting old Shams tweets? That's stupid. Yeah, it's just that Bone Highlands thing. Let's go to. Let's open up another Twitter. Let me know in the comments some of your opinions so far on this deadline. Let's see what some other people are saying about this Hawks trade, because this one's just. It's so insignificant, this Hawks trade, but I'm just confused why the Atlanta Hawks are outright just selling off their team when they don't own their own first-round pick. You know what I mean? Like, that logically makes no sense. They're just freely giving the San Antonio Spurs a good lottery pick. Why would they do that? I don't know. Let's see what some other people are saying. Clippers did nice here. Bogey fits. Yeah. We know that. Hawks are officially tanking. Yeah, they're tanking, but they can't. How'd the Clippers get? I don't get it. Am I missing something? I can't be missing something. Tankathon. The Spurs own their pick. I don't get it. I don't know. I got to stop thinking about this trade. I'm talking about it so much, I might as well make a separate video on just this trade because it's so stupid to me. It's so stupid. Terrence Mann to the Hawks. I see that. But, like, Brian, the Atlanta Hawks don't own their own first-round pick this year. The San Antonio Spurs own it from, I want to say, the DeJounte Murray trade that went back a few years ago. Why are the Hawks selling off pieces? I don't get it. Terrence Mann is worse than Bogdanovich. Bones Highland is worse than Bogdanovich. I don't get them selling off pieces to suck because it only helps out the San Antonio Spurs. Maybe because Terrence Mann is younger, Bones Highland is younger, that they're just trying to bring youth in for future seasons. That's like the only angle I can see happening here. But other than that, they're just giving the San Antonio Spurs a free good pick because they're only going to get worse. They're only going to get worse. I don't know. I got to stop talking about this deal. I got to stop talking about it. I'm spending too much time on this damn thing. Let's see if there's any other thing going. Let's see if there's any other opinions going on here. I'm waiting for a Celtics trade. That's just my bias. But I want to see something. Like, obviously, hopefully nothing that hurts my team, but I want to see something. 30 minutes until the deadline. This is the best trade deadline in NBA history by far. It's not even close. Polymarket, they posted this, says, odds to win the Eastern Conference after the Cavs trade. The Celtics are still above the Cavaliers. So the Celtics are at a plus 109. The Cavaliers are at a plus 359. The Knicks are at plus 600, basically, and the Bucks are at plus 1,300. Interesting. So the Cavaliers are still under the Boston Celtics to win the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the Celtics are the team to beat, but that DeAndre Hunter trade, it gives them a body that can guard Jaylen Brown. It gives them a body that they can put up against Jason Tatum. It just gives them another body that Karis LeVert wasn't doing. Niang sure as hell was not doing any defense. So I guess it's just the experience of the Celtics that puts them above, which all love to my boys, so I don't mind that. Let's Luka's first pictures as an LA Laker. That looks weird. Let's see what else is going on. If you're just joining us, trade deadline talk. We have about, if I can do quick math, we have 24 minutes left in the 2025 NBA trade deadline. Let's talk about some things that didn't happen. We've talked about all the trades that have happened so far. I've talked about all the big ones. I've talked about some small ones that I spent way too much time on, like the Bogdanovich one. I spent way too much damn time talking about Bogdanovich to the Hawks. It just makes no sense to me. Or Bogdanovich to the Clippers. But let's talk about some stuff that didn't end up happening, but there was some headway there. And the first one is Kevin Durant to the possibly going to the Golden State Warriors. Think about that one for a second. I'm going to get a drink of water. All right. About 48 to 72 hours ago, the rumors started to come around that the Golden State Warriors wanted to get reconnected with Kevin Durant. Everyone in the league was like, holy bleep, please do not do that. But we can thank God to Kevin Durant because he's like, I don't want to go back to Golden State. He didn't want to go back. The Golden State Warriors reportedly underestimated Kevin Durant's coldness towards the organization. Even a conversation between Steph Curry and Durant left Curry feeling that a reunion was unlikely. At some point in the last several days, the tweet goes on, and some point in the last several, I'm just reading this from NBA Central. We're talking about Kevin Durant if you're just hopping in. At some point in the last several days, Stephen Curry had a conversation with Kevin Durant that convinced him a reunion was extremely unlikely no matter how much the Golden State Warriors ownership group and front office collectively underestimated Durant's coldness towards a return, as one team source put it. We were like right there. We were right there to have Kevin Durant back in Golden State. If Kevin Durant, to put it this way, the way I'm reading this, if Kevin Durant gave the green light to Golden State, Durant would be a Golden State Warrior at this very moment. He'd be a Golden State Warrior. Like, no doubt in my mind. That's crazy. That might be a video. Drop my water bottle cap. That might be a video idea right there. Golden State, Kevin Durant could be back on the Golden State Warriors. I gotta write that one down. I'm old school. I write all my stuff down. Let's see. Kevin Durant, KD to GS. That one's written down. I kind of want to talk about that deeper. Like, Kevin Durant was almost a Golden State Warrior again, but it didn't happen because he said, hell nah, I don't want to go back. I don't think we realize, especially as outsiders, I don't think we realize the amount of coldness, not to Stephen Curry, but specifically to the organization and Draymond Green, the amount of coldness he does have, that being Kevin Durant with Golden State. I don't think we realized that. I mean, we knew him, and one of the main reasons why KD decided to leave in the first place was to get far away from Draymond Green and that whole thing. But I don't think we really understood it until right now. Like, why would he not want to go back to a team where he won 2 titles? Why would he not want to go play with a player that would put him in championship conversations? I don't care if Steph Curry's about the 37. I don't care how old Kevin Durant is. If those two paired up again this year, they would be not favorites because there's way better teams out there. But they would be back in the conversation to possibly win a title again. No doubt in my mind. Why would he not want to go back to that situation? It's because he doesn't like the team. He doesn't like Draymond. He doesn't like management. Maybe he doesn't even like Steve Kerr. I don't think that's one of them. They seem fine on Team USA. But he sure does not like the ownership, management. He doesn't like Draymond. Crazy one. And the Golden State Warriors got desperate. That's the only reason why Jimmy Butler is a Golden State Warriors, because even my title from today's video, the Golden State Warriors got desperate. I'm just seeing if anything new has come out. Let's see. We have breaking news. Breaking news. The Atlanta Hawks are trading Cody Zeller, who, if I'm going to be real with y'all, I didn't even know he was on the Hawks, and Houston's 2028 second-round pick to the Rockets. League shattering. The Hawks are crashing out. Free Trae Young. Trae Young should be the San Antonio Spur. There's been more rumors about Trae Young to San Antonio than De'Aaron Fox has ever had, but De'Aaron Fox was the lucky one to get out of his town. League shattering. I love sub-responses to some just stupid trades or signings. In this case, it's a trade. Already 100,000 views on this thing. Shams has been killing it all deadline. He's the guy. He's the guy now. Rest in peace, Woj. He didn't die, but he died from the media stuff. But yeah, going back to Kevin Durant, I think I want to make a video on that. What do you guys think? Would you like to see a deep dive into what it could have been with Kevin Durant? I wrote it down. And when I write something down, it's most likely going to happen. So I think I'm going to make a video on that. I also want to make another video, but that won't be till... When was the Luka trade? whenever it's a week since the Luka trade, I also want to make a video saying, like, just diving deeper into it. Because at the end of the day, it's ridiculous that Luka Doncic got traded away from the Dallas Mavericks. Like, at the end of the day, I don't want to hear any single solitary reason why he got traded away. Yes, he might be overweight. Yes, he might drink too much. That's like one of the things I've been reading. This, that, and that. But he is undoubtedly a top 3, very worst, top 5 NBA player. The only 2 guys I put above him at any given time is Jokic and SGA. Last year, there was a time where I had Luka Doncic as the best player in the league. There was a moment in time where Luka Doncic was my best player in the league last year. Talents like that do not come around every single day. And the Dallas Mavericks are going to realize that. That's why I want to make another video on it. I want to take another, I know I've already taken a deep dive into the trade and all that, but I really want to take a deep dive into what the absolute, I'm not going to swear on YouTube, but what the absolute bleep are you thinking? Let's see if, on that note, let's see if any other new trades have popped in. Nah, just the Cody Zeller one. Earth-shattering Cody Zeller. Let's talk about some other things. I just talked about Kevin Durant for a good minute there. Let's see. NBA Central said the Suns are likely done making moves for the day and will focus on improving the roster in the summer. Kevin Durant's not going anywhere. Bradley Beal sure as hell is not going anywhere. Devin Booker's safe. So are the Suns, they're just so down bad. They should be so much better than what they are. I feel bad for their fans. The Suns are 25-25. They just got rid of Nurkic. They bring in Cody Martin, and who else do they bring in? I'm forgetting. But what do the Suns do this offseason? Is that getting rid of Kevin Durant? Probably. And if there's one team I want to see him go to, it's the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have been prepared. They've been building for a while, but they've been prepared since last offseason to go out and get Kevin Durant. They traded for Phoenix's picks. The Houston Rockets hold all the assets possible that if the Phoenix Suns want to hit that reset button, they go to Houston. The first team the Phoenix Suns go to this offseason, if they really want to, because the new tweet that just came out is the Suns are likely done making moves in the last, we have 15 minutes left until the deadline. The Suns are likely done making moves for the day and will focus on improving their roster in the summer. If this summer, right, let's just say right now they're a play-in team. Let's just say they're a play-in team. They become the 8th seed, the 7th seed. Maybe they don't even, whatever it is. It's just no matter what happens, unless they completely make an identity change in the second half of the season here, it's a failed season either way. Either way, it's a failed season. This offseason, what do? They have 2 options. A, run it back with Kevin Durant, Booker, Beal, everything else they got going on, and try to do what they did this past offseason, which was just, get some good talent around them, like Tyus Jones, Mason Plumlee, making little signings here and there that I thought would bolster them up a lot, just really hasn't. They could do that again. Or B, which I think is the more likely direction based off how much of a failure it has been in Phoenix, they hit that reset button, they pick up the phone and call Houston and get their first-round picks back, and they completely just reboot this thing, and they send Kevin Durant for those picks. That's, I think, the most likely scenario that happens this offseason. Houston holds all the cards to Phoenix if they want to rebuild. They own multiple of their first-round picks that they got from Brooklyn this past summer. If they want to go out and click reboot, they go to Houston. And that's where Kevin Durant's going to go. We'll see. If you're just joining, a report came out that said the Suns are done making moves. They're not going to trade anyone else. Let's see what else is going on. Breaking, I can't swear. I can't swear. I promised myself I would never swear on YouTube because I got kids watching my videos. It's not that I swear that much to begin with, but I don't want to swear on YouTube. Not for the kids. Detroit is acquiring Dennis Schroeder from the Utah Jazz. Dennis Schroeder went from Brooklyn to Golden State for about a month to the Utah Jazz for about to the Miami Heat for about an hour, to the Utah Jazz for about 12 hours, and his final destination most likely is the Detroit Pistons. That's what the NBA trade deadline is. Nothing is finalized until it's finalized. Because if any of these prior trades would have been finalized, he would not have been able to be moved. But Dennis Schroeder is getting tossed around like a beanbag. Brooklyn Nets to start off the year. Golden State Warriors about a month ago. Then yesterday gets traded to the Miami Heat in that Jimmy Butler trade. Then gets flipped off. He gets flipped over to the Utah Jazz. And then today, and most likely the last deal happening for his journey, gets flipped to Detroit. He's been on 5 teams in about a month, and then 4 teams in the last, 24 hours? Holy crap. That's funny. Holy crap. Let's see what some of these tweets are. Now so he just got an apartment in Utah. I'm sure he's not even sold the one in Brooklyn yet. Dennis Schroeder is now one of the best players in the NBA getting traded. Now, for the Pistons, this is good. The Pistons, they made a move. What did they get yesterday? The Pistons got Josh Richardson and someone else. Let me find it. It was in that 5-team trade with the, must have been the Jimmy Butler trade, right? Yeah, it was in that actually a 4-team trade with Jimmy Butler. But the Pistons got yesterday Lindy Waters and Josh Richardson, good bodies, good depth. And now they add Dennis Schroeder. The Pistons are going out and they're trying to be a good playoff team this year. They're trying to be a good playoff team. They're 25-26, 7th seed in the East. They're right behind Miami to grab that 6th seed. I think Miami will stay afloat now that they have Andrew Wiggins, who's going to give them good time. But the Pistons are going to be a playing team. And by adding someone who averages 14 points per game, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal, shoots the ball with, solid efficiency, they add a body. Pistons are going out and they're building this team. They have good vets. They have good young guys. I know it sucks that Jaden Ivey's out for the year with his injury, or it's not confirmed he's out for the year, but most likely he's going to be out for the year. They add someone who's just a good player in Dennis Schroeder. Good for them. They're going to be a good playoff team this year. They're going to make the playoffs. They're not going to get bounced out in the play-in, I don't think. If the playoffs started today, they play the New York Knicks. Yeah, they're going to get bounced out in 5 games. Maybe a sweep. But it will give them that experience, and I think they'll be in most of those games, which is just good to have for a team like that. Good for them. Good for them. But yeah, going back, I want to see some of these other sub-tweets on Dennis Schroeder. He will save Detroit. Dennis Schroeder is becoming the most traded player this trade season after the comments he made is hilarious. Yeah, if you didn't know, Dennis Schroeder made some interesting comments about the trade deadline. If you know, you know. He called it like modern slavery. I'm not gonna get into that. Not my place to say anything. But after he made those comments, and now he's just getting thrown around the trade deadline. It's pretty funny. Let this man settle in. Do you think that Dennis Schroeder actually flew to any of these locations before this happened? I'm going to say at the very least, he did fly to Utah. At the very least, he may have flown. He probably didn't fly to Miami because that was so short. But he may have flown to Utah. If you're just joining in, Dennis Schroeder in the last 24 hours went from Golden State to Miami to Utah to, where is he now? Detroit. Yeah, that's right. Or in the last month, he's gone from Brooklyn to Golden State to Utah, or to Miami to Utah to now Detroit. We have 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left actually in the deadline until the deadline hits. Let's see if there's any final things going on. Just talking about Schroeder, DeAndre Hunter. That's funny. Cody Zeller, that's right. Big time move there. Not much going on right now. It's pretty dead now. But something's gonna fly in. We have 8 minutes left. Something is going to fly in. It won't be anything massive. I don't know. But something is going to fly in the next 8 minutes. Hopefully, please, I pray that the Chicago Bulls are on the phone trading Vucevic. Please. I'm not a Bulls fan. I say this every time. I'm not a Bulls fan in any way, shape, or form. But he doesn't need to be there anymore. His money is nothing crazy. He's making $20 million this year. And then I want to say again, $20 million next year. Just trade him. Please, Chicago. Please. I want to see him go to like Golden State. The Bulls, not the Bulls. The Warriors need him. Please. Any KD news? A report came out that Kevin Durant will not be getting traded, and also the Phoenix Suns said that they're not going to be making any moves at the deadline. They're going to be figuring out their situations in the offseason. So a few minutes ago, I was talking about that when that tweet came out. If I'm the Phoenix Suns and the rest of this season doesn't go the way you want it, which we all know is probably not going to go anywhere, this offseason, when they look at this team, if they want to go the rebuild direction, they know who to call. It's the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets hold multiple of their first-round picks that they got from Brooklyn this past summer. The Houston Rockets, if they got Kevin Durant, it would make them an automatic contender. It works for both sides. If the Phoenix Suns want to go that rebuild direction, they call Houston up this summer. They get their first-round picks back. They send Kevin Durant in return. Obviously, they might have to make the money work a little bit. They throw back some other contracts there. But at the end of the day, that's what they're going to do this offseason. But I just saw a tweet saying that the Phoenix Suns aren't going to be making any more moves at the deadline. They just traded Nurkic because the report was he hasn't talked to Budenholzer in like 2 months. He doesn't want to be there anymore. They sent Nurkic to Charlotte, which they needed because, of course, Charlotte sent out last night Mark Williams to the Lakers, so they had no body. He's just going to be filling that need for the rest of the year, and then they'll just get rid of him. Or he might be an expiring deal. I honestly don't know what Nurkic's contract situation is, but they're a body they needed in Charlotte. But for Phoenix, they believe more in Mason Plumlee, which I agree with. Mason Plumlee has been better this year. He's a better overall player. Not that he can provide, much more on the offensive side than Nurkic brings, but I just think overall play, he's just better than Nurkic. Nurkic just not been good at all. But yeah, Kevin Durant's not going anywhere. But I also was just talking about, and I wrote it down, I want to make a separate video on it, that Kevin Durant was almost a Golden State Warrior. I was just reading a tweet about, 10 minutes ago that said Stephen Curry talked to Kevin Durant about coming back to Golden State, and if Kevin Durant, I'm just paraphrasing, but if Kevin Durant gave the green light to go, Kevin Durant would be a Golden State Warrior right now. Possibly. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns would have to agree to that side of things, but the Phoenix Suns were open to exploring that trade. I mean, there was a rumor there for a few minutes there that Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant were going to swap places, but then I think they came to their senses and were like, why would we ever do that? Kevin Durant is far better than Jimmy Butler, and also we wanted them to be together. Just Bradley Beal has that no trade clause, which makes everything a lot harder. But Kevin Durant's not going anywhere at the deadline. That's going to be an off-season thing. I would love to see the Phoenix Suns. Oh, another trade. This involves my Lord and Savior Marcus Smart as a Celtics fan. The Memphis Grizzlies are trading Marcus Smart in a 2025. This is a We got that last deadline big news, ladies and gentlemen. The Memphis Grizzlies are trading Marcus Smart and a 2025 first-round pick to the Washington Wizards in a multi-team trade that sends 2 second-round picks to Memphis. Why? Wow, I feel bad for Marcus Smart. This makes me want to maybe put a tear down my face. Marcus Smart just got... Why the Washington Wizards, they're going to... They're going to... Again, the full trade needs to come out. The full trade needs to come out. We just see Marcus Smart getting traded to the Washington Wizards. What's about to happen? There's no way. What about KD, bro? The Wizards are in win now mode. Hey, maybe that KD news is cap that I was reading earlier. KD is going to the Grizzlies. That's not confirmed. That's just rumors. We have 3 minutes. And these are about to be the biggest 3 minutes anyone has ever seen in the NBA trade deadline. Are the Memphis Grizzlies about to go out and get Kevin Durant? Because they just moved. It says a massive... Where is it? It says a massive multi-team trade. What is about to go down? I know I was just talking about all that yap about Kevin Durant, but that was the tweet I read from a reputable source. Could that be going to crap? Possibly. Another trade. The Los Angeles Clippers are trading Kevin Porter Jr. to the Milwaukee Bucks for Boschamp. Cool. Who cares? Kevin Porter Jr. is a bucket. That's cool for the Bucks. They get a little bit of depth there at that guard position. The Clippers, they just brought in Bogdanovich. They don't really need Kevin Porter anymore. That's cool. Doesn't really matter. I need to learn more about this Marcus Smart deal. What is going on? Because the Wizards right now are just stockpiling a lot of assets. They get Chris Middleton. 2 minutes left on the deadline. And there's a rule that if you're on the phone with another agent when the clock hits 3 o'clock Eastern, you're still allowed to go through with the trade. But if you hang up, the deal's over with and you can't do anything about it. But if you stay on the line and you continue your negotiations and you come to an agreement, trades can still happen after 3 o'clock. Like I've seen trades come in 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later. So we could see a massive deal break in the next 10 hours. I'm going to stay on live for probably until around 3:20, 3:30 Eastern, just to see where things go. Because we have nothing on this Marcus Smart deal right now. We just have Marcus Smart is going to the Wizards in a multi-team deal, which I feel bad for him about. I mean, the Grizzlies are good. The Grizzlies are a good team. And he just got sent to the Shadow Realm. Now, I know with the new CBA and all that, people were dumping people. I just don't know why the Wizards would just... Not the Wizards. The Grizzlies would just dump off Marcus Smart. I saw earlier that KD was going to the Knicks, but I never confirmed. Yeah, KD, that never... On NBA trade deadline day, people just throw out everything. I have not seen that. When it comes to NBA trade deadline, I really try to stick to just... That would be cool, though, if they did go to the Knicks. That'd be wild. I don't even know who they'd trade. I mean, I guess it would be Mikal, OG. They'd have to do a lot to make that work. But when it comes to trade deadline stuff, I try to stick to Shams. I try to stick to, other reputable reporters like that, because then you can get lost in rumors that don't happen, and then you're just lost all over the place. But let's see. Marcus Smart... What time is it? All right, it's 3 o'clock Eastern. So technically the trade deadline is over. So unless teams are currently on the phone, there's nothing they can do about it. Because I'm assuming all these teams that are in this Marcus Smart trade are still on the phone working out the details. But it's 3 o'clock Eastern. So for any teams that are not currently on the phone right now, it's over with. There's nothing they can do. The trade deadline is here. This is the team they got for the rest of the year. But for teams that are currently on the phone, they can still negotiate. They can still come up with details. They can still make a deal. So something's going to come out here in the next few minutes, I would think. Let's refresh Shams. Nothing yet. Marcus Smart. What are they doing to my guy, Marcus Smart? And this sucks. I got a Marcus Smart jersey last year. A Memphis one, because I went to Memphis. Marcus Smart this season's averaging 8 points per game, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. He's only played 19 games. He's been injured on and off a lot. He hasn't even played 40 games in the last 2 years. That's very unlike Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart plays through every injury possible, so you know when he's hurt, he's hurt. But for the Washington Wizards, before we learn any details about this, because he could be getting sent somewhere, for all we know, it could be a different trade, and he goes somewhere else. But another trade that just went through, the Indiana, oh my gosh, that's a major crash out for James Wiseman. The Indiana Pacers are trading Achilles torn James Wiseman and cash for the Toronto Raptors. That's all we got on there. But again, those were two teams that were on the phone at 3 o'clock. They continued, and they got the deal done. Major crash out for James Wiseman. I feel bad for him. Tears his Achilles, gets sent to the Raptors, which, again, depending on what happens with Brandon Ingram, the Raptors could be kind of nice next year. But I doubt Brandon Ingram re-up with Toronto. Unless he falls in love with the freezing cold Toronto weather, I don't see many possibilities where Brandon Ingram re-ups with Toronto. It was more the Pelicans just getting something back in return, and then the Raptors taking a flyer that maybe, just maybe, Brandon Ingram wants to become a citizen of Canada. I doubt that, though. Any news on this Marcus Smart trade? Okay. We just got the details on the Marcus Smart trade. The Wizards trade Marcus Smart, a 2025 first-round pick, to the Washington Wizards, or the Grizzlies send that to the Wizards, and Memphis in return just gets 2 second-round picks. That's it. Man, wow. Marcus Smart just got literally just dumped off. Now, to the defense of the Memphis Grizzlies, Marcus Smart has played only 19 games this year. He played 20 games last year. In no way, shape, or form has he really been a consequential piece to their really good year so far. Last time I checked, they're the second seed in the West. They're 35-16. A majority of that has been without Marcus Smart this year. Also, some of those games have been without Ja Morant. He's been injured on and off as well. It's just a testament to Triple J. It's a testament to Desmond Bane, Taylor Jenkins, their head coach. A testament to their great depth. They don't envision Marcus Smart to be really one of those major depth pieces. If I go to NBA salary cap, I'd have to see exactly where they are with the apron stuff. Like, is getting rid of Marcus Smart save them a lot of money? Let's see. Apron. So no, Kevin Durant was not part of this deal. That was just something fun I was joking with. Let's see. First apron teams. Let's see where the Grizzlies are. No, not at all. The Grizzlies aren't even close to the second tax apron. They're not even in the first apron. I don't understand. Unless there's still a lot more to come out and they're just trying to build money for something else that they're on the phone about. I don't get that. Like, what hurts keeping Marcus Smart? Like, how's that hurt your team? It doesn't. I mean, they get back in the deal 2 second-round picks. That one's a head-scratcher. And if you look at the Washington Wizards roster right now, who have they brought in? They've brought in, of course, Chris Middleton. Yeah. They brought in Marcus Smart. They brought in Reggie Jackson. They've been the Wizards have been wheeling and dealing this trade deadline. They've been one of those teams that have just been helping out other teams or, being in a trade. Like, they traded Valanciunas for Sissoko with the Sacramento Kings. That helps them out. They've been facilitating some deals. The Wizards have not been quiet, obviously, this deadline. I'm interested to see what comes out and what really made the Grizzlies trade Marcus Smart. Because, again, he obviously has not been like a key to their success this year. He's missed like half the season, more than half the season. But it's just a body Let's listen to Shams. He just made a video. He just posted something.
Informed
Let's listen
all
to
interested
Shams.
teams, they are not moving Kevin Durant.
Hold on. I got my live stream playing on another thing, which you can just hear me. All right, let's listen to what Shams had to say about Kevin Durant. Here we go.
What more can you tell us?
Malika, the Phoenix Suns have informed all interested teams they are not moving Kevin Durant. Obviously, the Warriors started this all off with their pursuit of Kevin Durant last week. There was some level of an engagement, and several more teams called today. But the Suns made a trade today, traded away Yusuf Nurkic, brought in a couple potential role players. They want to see how this team looks for the second half of the season. Kevin Durant did not expect his name to be in any trade rumors. He has not requested a trade out of Phoenix this season, from my understanding, and was blindsided by even being involved in any conversation. I am also told there will be a full evaluation of this team if they are not able to turn it around by the offseason.
News out of Phoenix.
So that is exactly what we were talking about. I don't know, maybe like a half hour ago, that it was someone else reported it, that the Phoenix Suns aren't going to be making any more moves. They got rid of Yusuf Nurkic. He didn't want to be there. Didn't work out with Budenholzer. Mason Plumlee's their guy at center now. But there were rumors that, maybe Kevin Durant, this, that, and that. No, they're just going to wait till the offseason. They want the second half of the year to be like an evaluation period. Can this team turn up? Can they become a good playoff team? Can they actually be somewhat of what we all thought they could be this year? That's very fair to me. There's no reason in my mind why the Suns just give up on Kevin Durant mid-year. It makes no sense. So I'm glad they're not doing that. Any final trades coming through the wheelhouse here? The only one that was past 3 o'clock, they must have been on the phone, was the Indiana Pacers are trading James Wiseman in cash to Toronto. Whoop-de-doo. Let's see. The Marcus Smart one, it says a multi-team trade that sends... Multi-team. That means there's another team here we're just not hearing about yet. Just weird to me, trading Marcus Smart. What's up, JD? Shams is going crazy. Shams is going crazy. I mean, you got to be when there's no Woj. All right. I'm just looking at these subtweets. The Wizards should buy out Marcus Smart and he comes back to Boston. Probably not. Probably not. The Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to buy out one of Chris Middleton or Marcus Smart. I just don't know why Memphis is just getting rid of them. If there's just not another deal coming down the pipeline, which at 2:10 my time, but I guess 3:10 Eastern, I don't really see I don't see a world where there's a reason for him to be on the Wizards. Obviously, interesting one there. That one stumps me. We're gonna have to see what happens there eventually if they buy out Marcus Smart, buy out Chris Middleton, Reggie Jackson. Because the Wizards have been wheeling and dealing. They've been wheeling and dealing today, yesterday. And there's no real good reason to it. Except I know they wanted to get rid of Kyle Kuzma. Bringing in Chris Middleton makes sense. Make the money work. But this one here is just... It's legit. If I can get back to it. Let's see. They legit just dumped off Marcus Smart. Again, Marcus Smart has not been a valuable piece to the Grizzlies this year. Grizzlies stats. I'll stay on for another 10-ish minutes. We'll see. See if any last-minute news pops in. Look at the Grizzlies stats. Of course, it's Triple J, John Morant, Desmond Bane, Santi Aldama off the bench has been really good for them. Jalen Wells has been a really surprising rookie. G.G. Jackson finally is back. He's played around 10 games this year. Zach Edey's been good. Luke Kennard, good. Scottie Pippen, good. And then we just get to Marcus Smart. Of course, you have Brendan Clark, Jay Huff, Jake LaRavia. Vince Williams is hurt, but when he comes back, he's a good piece of this rotation. I mean, at the end of the day, Marcus Smart is just not very valuable to this rotation because he's hurt. If Marcus Smart played 40 games so far this year, I don't think they move him, but it's the fact that he hasn't. He's played 19 games this year, only played 20 games last year. And if we look at their contracts, let's see. contracts. I've been talking for 100 minutes straight. God bless me. If we look at their contract table, why is this taking me so long? Got a full view of this thing. But Marcus Smart, has he already been taken off the team? Damn, they act fast. Shout out Spot Rack. They act fast. They take guys off rosters like faster than I snap my fingers. But either way, Marcus Smart had a multi-year deal with the Memphis Grizzlies, we know, when he got traded last year from the Boston Celtics. Marcus Smart contract. He's already on the Wizards, like, from Spot Rack. Shout out them, man. They get their stuff done. Yeah, he makes $20 million this year, $21 million next year, and then he's unrestricted free agent. Definitely buyout candidacy there, or they can just wait to the offseason and move him then. It's just a 1 year. It's an expiring deal. Shouldn't be too hard to be moved. But I guess the Memphis Grizzlies didn't want to have $20 million for 2 more years on the books for someone who's just not playing because he's hurt. And they believe other guys are more valuable than him, which I completely get. Gigi Jackson's back. He's going to play more. Jalen Wells is back. He's going to play more. I know those guys are more forwards, but they eat minutes that Marcus Smart can't have. Luke Kennard, he's playing. Scottie Pippen Jr. is good. Brandon Clark, again, I know is a big man, but he eats those minutes. Same with Jay Hove, Jake LaRavia. Marcus Smart was just the odd man out, and it's not even like they're close to any cap issues. That's another thing. It's if you look at the apron tracker, the Memphis Grizzlies are $25 million away from the first apron, and they're $36 million away from the second tax apron. They're not, like, close to being in any trouble. That's weird. Last year, they were $8 million away. Weird. Weird. Let's see if anything else is broken. Let's see. Any final thoughts from Shams? Just on Kevin Durant. We'll check one more source, and we might bounce on out of here. I'll give my closing thoughts. Let's go NBA trade deadline. Because, of course, Shams is the end-all, be-all, but maybe there's some other peeps dropping some nuggets. Shout out y'all for watching this live today. Thank you very much. I haven't done a live in a very long time. My last live I did, I was looking back on it, was like July something. It was the summer of 2018. That's 7 years ago, almost. Crazy. I definitely want to do some more of these for big moments. I just have to do a better streaming platform to use and not, you do it this way. I don't want to be vertical. I want to be horizontal, have some nice stuff on the screen. But for my first stream back, I really just wanted to hop on here and do it. Yeah, there's not anything else popping up. Let's see. We'll check Chris Haynes. Sometimes he's got some. Trae Young's future in Atlanta is murky. You don't say, buddy. I mean, why would he want to be there now? The Golden State, Chris Haynes drops different nuggets that Shams doesn't always drop. But Chris Haynes says Golden State are done on the trades, looking for the buyout market. Marcus Smart if he gets bought out. Chris Middleton. The Sacramento Kings are requiring Jake LaRavia from Memphis. Shams didn't even report that. That must be... Yeah, okay. It's a different trade we didn't see. Everything else is the same, though. Drake LaRavia, I mean, he's having a good year. Give him that. But with that said, it seems like everything is pretty much settled down. And this has been the greatest trade deadline in NBA history. I have a graphic in front of me that shows some of the biggest trades this deadline. We have Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic trade, right? We have the Zach LaVine and De'Aaron Fox trade. We have the Jimmy Butler trade Brandon Ingram, Mark Williams, Dalton Connect in that one. There's been other ones today that have just been maybe not massive, but like DeAndre Hunter. It's a really important trade for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Marcus Smart, that's a name. Like, why is he getting traded? You know, this one's going to forever stump me. I want a 10-page research article on why the Clippers and the Hawks made this trade. Terrence Mann and Bones Highland for Bogdan Bogdanovic. Why are the Atlanta Hawks trying to suck when they don't own their first-round pick? Can someone write a thesis and a 10-page research paper for me on that, please? That one's going to stump me. I'm going to be thinking about that all day. I'll be thinking about that one all day. Let's see. When we first hopped on here, Nurkic got traded to the Hornets. They needed that because they got rid of Mark Williams. Davion Mitchell, we briefly talked about that one. Just a good, heat culture type of guy. This is not trade news, but this was reported today that Chet Holmgren has been out since November 10th due to the hip injury. He returns Friday to the NBA's best Thunder. That is awesome. The Thunder are 40-9, and they've done 90% of their season without Chet. 95% of their season without Chet. Scary. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we've touched on every single trade. Let's see. The Bucks are sending DeLon Wright and cash. The Knicks for Jericho Sims. We briefly talked about that because that was part of the Jimmy Butler trade, maybe. I don't know. It was part of one of the trades with one of the stars. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you guys, everyone who hopped in for today's live. It was fun. Again, I want to do this better next time, making it horizontal instead of vertical. I'll figure that out. But I'm going to be making a video in the coming days of winners and losers. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Of winners and losers of the NBA trade deadline. And then I wrote it down. I want to do a video of KD could have been a Golden State Warrior. A few things had to go right. One of them was KD giving approval for it, but he could be a Golden State Warrior right now. I'll do one last check, make sure no one else was on the phone. No deal, just last minute deal came down the pipeline. They would have been on the phone for a while now, but let's see. Nope. The last thing Shams tweeted was Kevin Durant not being moved at the deadline. They're going to wait till the offseason. They want to figure it out to see if they want to move KD, this, that, and that. But yeah, the craziest trade deadline in NBA history has just came to a conclusion. And anyways, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's live stream, and I'll be back very soon with a video. Check out my trade videos. Those were fun to make on the fly. There was some early mornings. I woke up at 4 this morning to make that Jimmy Butler video. I woke up at like 4 the other day to make that. What video was it? All these trades blend together. What was it? What trade was it? The De'Aaron Fox trade. So some time has been put in. So check those out. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, I'll see you guys very soon. Like always, peace out.